morning. Kinda. It's 11:30. Does that still count as morning? I don't know. Been having some camera issues lately. Things turning pink, locking up. Actually, I just left a little campground. I'd stopped to restart the camera and make sure everything was working right. And it had locked up, so I had to stop, pop the battery, plug everything back in. Pain in the ass. It's actually killed several videos that I've done over the last 2 or 3 weeks. But that's life, right? I gotta look into alternative camera options. I don't know what's causing it to freeze. The pink flickery shit, I think, is just the camera getting old. Because I know the video card's good, the memory card. Not pretty sure it is anyway. It's a whole lot newer than the camera is. I finally got some electrical things sorted and decided I'd go ahead and do a quick review of the bike. Thoughts so far. I've put about 2,600 miles on it since I got it. Actually about 3,000. I did a couple of hundred before I had to change the battery because the dealership's a piece of shit. I'm very, very happy with it. This windshield is an oversized windshield, which basically means I can't ride it if it's more than like 90, 95. I get fucking heat stroke. So if it looks like it's going to be that hot, I just take the windshield off, which brings with it a bunch of other issues, such as sore shoulders and neck and stuff like that. But it is a whole lot cooler. This bike has way more than enough power. I don't really know what I expected it to feel like, but it's actually zippier than I ever expected it would be. Even knowing, you know, I knew how big the motor was and all that shit. It's just one of those things. You get on it, it's like, holy shit. Handles very well. It took a little while to get used to it because it's basically got about the same brakes that the VFR had. Yeah. Little bit tighter than expected. These brakes might be a little bit different. They use the pads look a bit different, but they're the same brand and the same number of pistons. So I'm going to assume they've got about the same amount of power, and I'm riding a bike that weighs about 40 to 50% more. It does not stop as well as my last bike did. But it does stop very, very well, you know. Sorry, I got something in my mouth. Piece of sand or something. I'm extremely happy with the whole thing. Like the whole package. There we go. I think I got the last of it. Listen to me eat sand for 5 minutes. The saddlebags are huge. They're big enough for my entire helmet. I have to take the camera and mohawk and all that shit off before they'll fit safely. But I can take all that crap, stuff it inside the helmet itself, and stick the helmet in the saddlebag. In fact, a couple of weeks, like a week and a half ago, I took my jacket and I stuffed my jacket in one saddlebag, and my helmet and all that shit in the other, and was able to leave the bike parked in a parking lot and not have to carry all my gear around. And because of the way the saddlebags work, I knew it was safe for the most part. There's always a certain amount of danger involved with stuff like that, but you know, it gets better gas mileage than the old bike did, which is surprising. Doesn't sound anywhere near as good, but that's okay. It sounds all right. It's got a Two Brothers exhaust on it. I've got a Micron exhaust, just a muffler, I've got 2 of them that came with the old VFR that I took off. I think one of these days I'm going to slap one on this thing, just see what it sounds like. That VFR with that muffler on it sounded like a old 5-liter Mustang instead of Flowmasters. And if you're a car nut, or you know how to appreciate a nice exhaust note, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're not and you don't, that's fine. Google it. You know, it's a very distinct sound. You can hear a 5-liter Mustang a mile away, and I don't know why. It just is. So I'm going to try that, see what happens. The seat on this thing is not terrible. It's the factory seat. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too inclined, and I have tailbone issues, and that's a common complaint, is people bitching about the pressure that it puts on their tailbones. So one of these days I'll be looking into an aftermarket seat. I've got to get a rack for my top case to go on the back. That's going to be more money, which is fine. That's the way it is. You know, that's life. But other than that, this is a bad sumbitch. And the price that I paid for it wasn't all that bad either. I think the out-the-door price, tax, title, license, all that shit, grand total was, I want to say it was right at $7,000. I'm a little irritated about the dealership, but that's a different video. I'll do that one next. So, you know, I'm very happy with it. I would like to get I've got a USB dongle plugged in. It's got a cigarette lighter port over here. And I've got one of those USB things that's got 2 plugs for it. I'd like to get just a straight USB port, like right here, and do away with that connection. But that's kind of a wish list thing. I'm not terribly worried about right now. But as you can see, I've got my spot set up. I've got my GPS hooked up. I'm not happy with the GPS location, simply due to glare issues. In the near future, I'm going to have to move that up here, which is gonna be like another 30 bucks, but so it goes, you know, that's life. The problem is that putting it down here, I have to angle it up, and when I angle it up, it catches the sun like all fucking day. And in the middle of the afternoon, you can barely see it. I don't mind, when I had it over here on the VFR, it was more flat, and so it only bothered me at extreme angles, you know, early in the morning or late evening. And other than that, it wasn't an issue. So I just end up doing that. It's no big deal. It is what it is. But yeah, the bike overall, great. Couldn't argue more. Like the one reviewer that I watched said, it's a touring bike that's got enough thrust to throw you into orbit, which is true.